This is the 7th time we're doing sustainability sessions, I believe. And we started this as the Green Sprint. This is who we are. This is what we do. We're passionate about making sustainable change happen. I think, like many of you, and we do innovation and design methodologies, and we facilitate those processes. You've already witnessed a little bit on the mural board here. We do them all remotely, which is very nice now with COVID that we can all do this remote. And we help organizations to develop strategies and solutions and test ideas and concepts. And we use design sprints, design thinking, and other methodologies. And the reason that we do sustainability sessions is, like I already said, sustainability is a very broad topic. And it's really always very good to have, to meet and to come together with other like-minded enthusiasts, professionals, experts, and so forth, to do some networking, to get to know each other and to learn more about the topic. We, of course, like to share our knowledge as well. And we like to explore the field of sustainability because it is so broad. And we like to explore all the other expertises that we need in order to make the sustainable change and transformation happen. That said, I would like to give the floor to Manu, who is going to lead the interview with Juliana, and I will check back with you later.
Okay, thanks, Pam. So yes, we got Juliana in the house today, Juliana Lux. We met a couple of months ago via the community we just mentioned, Sustainably in Love, and we started chatting about actually everything sustainability, and I quickly figured out that Juliana is very, very good at storytelling, and that is for a reason, because she is the founder and managing director of a video production studio called GivingBack Films, and they focus on really looking at the stories and behind the data of ESG and GRI reports and other sustainability reports. She focused strongly on visual communication and on inspiring and activating people within companies and people at home as well by using video. And that is exactly what we want to talk about today with her. We want to talk about visual communication and especially why it is so important and how you can do this. So let's kick it off with a quick introduction of you, like if you have anything to add, and how you started GivingBack Films.
Okay. So we'll go straight to the name, maybe GivingBack Films. And the name came from a documentary that was a CSR documentary filmed in Senegal for a private company here in the UK. And we set off to Senegal to learn what was the impact that that organization was creating in the village that they were supporting in Senegal, in rural Senegal. And a lot of the term we're giving back to communities, we're giving back was really present on that organization. But what we learned when we went there was that it's the entire opposite. So when you actually get involved and you engage with communities like those ones, you learn that they give back to you a lot more than you think you're giving back to them. So they give back humanity to all of those people. They give back a sense of reality because then you realize that all that you have for granted is just it's an abstract concept, isn't it? So all of those people have a lot to give back when you truly engage with them. So the name GivingBack Films come from trying to kind of switch that concept of organizations saying we are giving back to communities, and actually it's this whole circular process of giving and taking that we call it GivingBack Films. So we're able to amplify the messages of organizations that get involved and both with social and environmental issues. So that's how GivingBack kind of was born. A lot on the back of my co-founder, who is an amazing filmmaker. I wouldn't be able to do anything without him in terms of producing films. But the drive of the company has to do a lot with my background and why we've decided to go towards sustainability and ESG as a main focus for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So if that kind of fits, is that right? does that count?
So that you recently started giving back films.
March this year. Just a couple of, like 1 week before the lockdown kind of
Great timing.
descended. Yes.
That you're able to start this company and that this is hitting off, it kind of shows that there is definitely an increased importance in sustainability reporting. And you also see overall in the industry that more and more investors and other companies and also customers are demanding sustainability reports, and especially well communicated sustainability reports.
Yeah.
Why do you think that reporting became more and more important?
So basically, sustainability has been there for a while now. You know, it has been in the agenda, and the lockdown has accelerated that agenda. It has, I think, brought to people's mind their own responsibility and also the global community, in the sense of everything that happens in one place has an effect in another place. It kind of shortened distances, although we are not able to make those distances physically. In a weird way, it makes us all feel a little bit more in community. It has also accelerated the pressure on governments and governmental bodies to say enough is enough. You know, we are now using this as a parameter to see who stays and who doesn't. Consumer behavioral change, work-related expectations from new generations saying, I'm not working if there is no purpose in this. You know, and more this is a common ground. So basically, when the pressure comes from all sides, top to bottom and then bottom up, is when you see the change happening. And this lockdown has kind of accelerated that as an incubator. So it's interesting that I don't need to sell my point as in why it's important to communicate sustainability anymore. The whole thing is how you do that. So it's on a second stage. Maybe if we have created Giving Back Films 2 years ago, I would have gone through a huge kind of length of, I don't know, struggle to try and convince people that was important to have any communication around sustainability. But once communicating your, like creating your report is something that is basic, then it opens to the question, now what? You know, after you've done your job, you've done your homework, and you're creating, you know, you're doing better, you're creating alternatives to enhance your impact, your positive impact. You've done your report, ticking the boxes. Now what? How does that feel to your stakeholders? How does that feel, and how does that communicate to your investors so you are on the top of your game? So that's where we come.
That's interesting that you say that. It's about, like you mentioned a couple of things, as how do you do that, and how does it feel? Because when we're doing our preparation talk with you, you mentioned a couple of times that you had some previous lives. So you started this company in March, but one of those things, one of those previous jobs or your previous lives was that you are, they have been a psychologist, or you are a psychologist.
Yeah.
And you did several other quite interesting jobs that maybe we shouldn't dive into today, because then we go completely off topic. But how do these previous experiences and your experience as a psychologist help you in giving back films?
Okay, just to clarify, this is all a very touching topic. I'm not crying. I had the procedure in my eyes and it keeps dripping tears. So I'm sorry. Minu is not making me cry, not today. Well, going into previous experiences, I started my career, if you want to go even back, I first went to university when I was really, really young, and that's why it didn't really work out. I was only 17, and I did business. So I went on for business. I didn't really feel any meaning to that, and I didn't finish it. It was like a loose end that stayed kind of at the back of my mind. But then I went back to study psychology and got involved with a not-for-profit from the US, and that led me to opening one of their, let's call it, franchise, I suppose, in Brazil. So I had to do adaptation, cultural adaptation and linguistic adaptation for their methodology. They used to provide, or they do provide, with courses on bullying prevention and safety, emotional and physical safety awareness. That got me involved with government bodies, creating laws, and working in really high levels of politics, and also having to report to organizations and governments what's the real impact of what we do in a school, and how can that be measured and replicated in other schools. And I think the frustration about reporting started there. Nobody reads reports. And when you want to convey such an important message, and actually you need to pay your bills by showing that what you do creates positive impact, and that's why they should be paying you. It's really important that you communicate that message in a way that people get interested. So that was 6 years of my life working with that organization, and then plot twist, UK. And then in the UK, I did a master's degree in intergenerational communication. So in that I learned a lot of conflicts happen because in the workplace happen because of what we expect of work. What do you understand work should mean to you? And there's the whole bit about personality that we don't need to go into. I did that while I was working for an educational company and leading their CSR. So they had no CSR, and we tried to create something that I used to call like the train to unite the 6 different offices they had across the UK. Mm-hmm. So one big theme was that everybody felt they were helping children in their work, directly or not directly, but everybody felt that. So united with World Vision, we've created a program and started to explore what can we do. And then when we learned about the village in Senegal, and one of the struggles they had over there was water, then we started minding our water consumption inside the company and also in our own homes, which was really interesting, how you can merge sustainability with your everyday things, like your everyday decisions, and that a company can lead that transition for everyone, not just in the workplace, but also in their private lives. When you actually engage your employees and they start to bring their ideas themselves, you feel it like they own it. That's when it's actually happening, it's true to them as well. So I experienced all of that while working on the side with Andrew. Andrew, my co-founder of GivingBack Films, was making videos for the marketing department of this organization, and they just called me in to give kind of an opinion about a few things. That's how I met Andrew, and they were crazy enough to give us budget to try something else, to communicate CSR, to communicate what we were doing, because basically sending an email to everyone was not really happening. Like, nobody reads it. You can't send a huge PDF with beautiful numbers to the investors to say, look how cool we're doing this, how nice it is from us that we are taking care of all of those aspects and advancing the UN SDG goals here and there. It needed to be something more powerful. So for that case, we decided to buy 6 televisions, and we installed those TVs in every office. And we started creating monthly videos that would speak to those people about what was happening in the organization and what was happening in Senegal as well, where they were directly helping. And the impact was great. The impact was amazing. And so we experienced the impact of video internally, and again later on externally with reputation as well. So yes, so that links back again to GivingBack Films. A bit long, but yeah.
That's okay. It was an interesting story. So you mentioned a couple of times, like, you can't send over a big PDF, and communicating reports, I mean, it can be a bit complex, a bit complicated. nowadays in the world of sustainability, we're actually hearing a lot of abbreviations. It seems that if you want to communicate about it, if you want to talk about it, if you want to be a sustainability professional, you almost have to be a sustainability professor. There's so much going on. At some point, we noticed that a lot of people kept getting confused, even sustainability professionals who were really reading up on their reports and everything on a daily basis. That's why we started building like a sustainability jargon buster. So just because it's necessary. It's necessary, and that's also why, just to keep it clear in this call as well, to have everyone on the same page. Just if we briefly can dive into the three main abbreviations that are used in sustainability reporting the most. So I would say that is CSR, ESG, and GRI.
Yeah.
And what are those three things, and what are the main differences between them?
Yeah. So GRI is the global reporting. Missed the I here. Help me out. Global reporting
Initiative.
And that's where you find how to report. You know, that they have resources that will guide you through on your written report. So everyone should be reporting, and that's the basis of understanding the impact that you're creating, setting the targets for the next kind of year or 2 years, and then making sure that you record everything, and they will give you the guidance for that. So this is how to report, and you can unite that with also the UN SDGs, so United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that have set 17 areas that you can kind of benchmark against. So they work very well together, right? But those are for written documents, and we can kind of pinch and go a little bit into that when you're creating a video. But you want more of the stories behind the numbers, other than the numbers themselves. The numbers can be on the screen depending on what's the idea for that specific client, but you want more of the stories. And then you went on CSR, so corporate social responsibility. And although the name has social on it, it does include environmental issues as well, as we are people living in a planet. So planet belongs to the social in that scenario. So environmental, community, all of that is in corporate social responsibility, and is a bit of an older, I think, way of calling ESG, environmental social governance, tends to be used more into the finance area in banks, and CSR into other types of industry. They all take care of the same thing. It's your non-financial impact, kind of. It's your non-financial report, it's your non-financial doings in your organization, and that will go from inclusion, diversity, to equal opportunities, and fair processes in your organization, all the way to your carbon emissions and to your energy consumption and your recycling and everything else. Sustainability has been a word that was used a lot in this last few months. A lot of people are calling sustainability reports, and when you talk about sustainability, it's not only the environmental issues about it. It's not only environmental questions. There's also the social bit. So whilst when you say CSR, you think it's just social, and you say sustainability, you think it's just environmental, both of them kind of have all ends of it, and they mean the same, you know? So we'll have to leave with all of the terms together, because it's a matter of preference.
Yeah. I mean, it is what we just saw in the game as well. It's systems thinking. Everything is connected, and you cannot see social separated from environmental. And I mean, discrimination is connected as well to climate change and environmental behavior. Like, there's everything in one way or another is connected. And there are also so many elements we can be working on, so many elements we should be working on. So over like the last year or so, what would you say that are the main trends that companies are now focusing on?
So becoming carbon neutral is just what's expected now. It's the new normal. Everybody hates that kind of sentence, but it is definitely the new normal in there. Google, I think, has like, I've mentioned to you, like carbon neutral since, and that's a new trend. Since when are you carbon neutral? Like, oh, we've been doing this for this long, or we have kind of gone backwards in time. It's there's a lot to do with what's easy for the consumers to understand. So this whole carbon offsetting is becoming a lot more mainstream, and there's loads of ways to engage with carbon offsetting your home, your company. So I think the carbon neutral trend is just going to grow a lot more now, become super mainstream, as in like, how come are you not? It's not even a question anymore. People involved, companies involved with their communities. So basically, because of COVID and the pandemic, this year has highlighted a lot of the local impact. And that should come around the next few reports. So how those organizations have dealt with the crisis during this last few months. So I was reading something not long ago, and I even took notes of it. So don't know where that note is now, but they were saying something like, whilst we would see organizations reporting on bigger aspects of climate change and recycling being like the most common thing in the last few years, we should see a shift towards impact on community and on poverty and then equal rights and things like that for the next year or so. Yeah. Especially with the Black Lives Matter and all of those movements that are taking also the media. This is a huge kind of thing coming up for the next few reports, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So we actually slowly want to start moving on to the exercise, and
yep.
That's where the next question comes in place. Because what you do is you look for the story behind yep. the reports. And yes. I think one thing that a lot of people can agree on is reading a report can be very, very boring. And it puts a lot of people to sleep. So actually, you said it very beautiful the other day. I think it was someone else's quote, but he said, nobody ever cried over an Excel sheet.
Yes, that was Robert Weston, one of my mentors in this area. And he's a super storyteller. Yeah. And that's the whole point. To entice emotion, to create change, you need to connect with people. And reading, although reading is amazing, reading reports doesn't really kind of create the same impact on people. Mm-hmm. So yes, that's how videos can create change, by enticing emotions.
You already answered my question. That's exactly okay. Where I wanted to go. I wanted to ask, like, okay. Yes, why is visual communication and then so important for getting these reports and the messages in these reports across? Like, what does video do what text or okay. maybe data doesn't do?
So it's the relatable aspect of videos. When you dive into a video, you're diving into images and you're using more of your senses as well, and you can project some of your expectations and your own self into what's happening on that screen. And that's how emotions happen. So if the video makes it feel personal, then it's a win, because you've got that heart kind of pumping on the same rhythm, let's put it that way. And that's where change happens. And what we would like to happen is that organizations are free to show their journeys, where they have got right, where they have got wrong, so they can become an inspirational factor for other organizations and individuals as well, to see what can they do. It is important for smaller organizations or medium organizations to understand the pathway that led those big sustainability companies, companies that are doing so well, what led them to get to those numbers that they're showing on their report. What was the pathway? What's the journey that took them there? Yeah. So that's why we would like to create those sustainability journey videos, to be inspirational to others.
Yeah, you really take people on the whole route and don't show
Yes,
only the end
yes,
result, you
yes.
show what work goes into it and why it's
Yes,
important
it's
as well.
inspirational to others and also instrumental for that organization when they are in conversation with investors, for example. You know, on the words on Jamal Izel's own words, and he's the CEO of Change Please, an amazing social enterprise here in London that has won loads of awards. And he says that all of the sponsors and all of the investors that he had on his business came because of a video. So it was after showing the video to those people, they actually understood his business and they felt safe enough to invest on it. So all of the PDFs and all of the presentations that he had done before did not move those people as much as the video. So we have kind of, you know, we buy into that. Definitely do.
You found a way to activate people.
Yes.
We kind of want to show everyone else how this works.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give the floor to Pamela to introduce what we're going to do today. And Sebastian, I noticed your question in the chat, and it's a super interesting one. So we're definitely going to circle back to that one later. But let's do the creative exercise first. So Pamela, the floor is all yours.
Yay! Well, thanks, Juliana, for that absolutely beautiful and amazing information that you've shared with us about the video. It's hard to top that, actually, because you're such an expert on the creating of video and your background in psychology, like enticing emotion and doing that storytelling. But what we thought of when we talked to you is the thing that what do we have in common within an innovation process and visual communication? So there's our little bridge there. What can we give our participants to get a little bit of a feeling of how do you use visual communication? So we also have Ella with us tonight, which is actually really nice because Ella has done a visual note-taking for us 2 sessions ago, which was really great. So maybe we can put that in the chat at some point where you can check it out. So she also has a very good understanding of how visual communication is a different way of conveying information, and it helps to stick. I think even your brain remembers visuals better than it does words, which is why visual note-taking is taking off. So when we do a design sprint, it's one of the things that we do is a 5-day process. After we've done problem framing and understanding and doing our research, we get to a phase where we're going to take all those insights and try to come up with solutions and ideas. So we go into the ideation phase, and there are a lot of exercises that we can do as our loyal visitors of our sustainability sessions have experienced a few times. And another one is actually sketching or making a storyboard. So the idea behind that is when you start expressing ideas and potential solutions in the form of diagrams and rough sketches, it kind of opens up your brain to a wider lens of thinking. So because you have to translate what's in your head onto a paper by conveying that information visually, and it can be the basis for when you're working in a team, it can be the basis for having a meaningful discussion on what are you trying to do, what are you trying to convey. Yeah, so we've asked in this case, of course, we cannot take you in our sessions through an entire design sprint process. Mm-hmm. Normally, we would have had 2 entire days of working together to come to this stage. So instead, we asked Juliana to prepare a little briefing for you. And I'm going to ask you, we're not going to work on the mural board because sketching on the mural board is actually quite hard, as you've just experienced a little bit with doing your little doodle. So I'm going to ask you if you have a pen and paper near. Just grab a pen and a paper. I'll give you a few moments to do that. And when Juliana starts briefing us, just listen to all the information that she's giving you. You can fold your paper maybe in 3 parts, so I'll do that for you. And if you want to draw more, that's fine too. So in 3 little frames, if you will. 3 frames. And what you're going to try to do is listen to her and just let your brain come up with ideas. And instead of writing them down, try to draw them. If you want to write some words to make yourself understand what you're trying to convey, that's fine. You don't have to use only doodles. Don't make them a piece of artwork. Just doodling is fine. But try to create a story to think about what Juliana is is telling us and how you would portray that story, and possibly into a video. Is that what you're looking for, Juliana?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the start of a storyboard for a video. So how would you convey that information in a visual form or video? Does that make sense to everyone? If it doesn't, let me know. Okay. So I'll let Juliana have the floor again, and after that, I'll give you about five to 6 minutes to just do your drawing on your own, and we'll play some music in the background for you.
So I'll introduce you to a mental process that goes like on the back of my mind when I'm talking to a potential client. So I had something prepared last night for the lovely ladies, and then today I had this amazing call with a possible client, and I decided to change it and then kick the ball to all of you. So maybe you can kind of help me out. So I have created a new name for them, and I kind of changed a little bit the story because I can't really talk about it because they're not our clients yet. Hopefully they will, but let's go. So this is an organization that produces clean energy with hemp. Okay, so they use hemp to create biomass and biogas. And they do that by partnering with producers across the world and buying the waste that they create, the hemp waste. So what was not used to produce the CBD oil, whatever else was that production was aimed to, there is a lot of waste. And hemp grows really quickly, and it's a weed, so it doesn't require a lot of work on the soil. It sequesters a lot of CO2, so it's an incredibly sustainable crop. So they buy the waste to transform that into biomass that becomes energy to their clients, right? And they sell for really big industries that are looking into clean energy solutions, right? They also go on into trying to swap crops of more of less sustainable produce, so convincing farmers and buying their land, not buying their land, buying the next crop. So they will teach how to plant and cultivate hemp and then sell that to them instead of, for example, tobacco, or instead of other things that are not so sustainable and not great for the soil. So it makes it fairer, and they tackle a lot of the poverty and the whole structure from all the way back into land, you know, the farmers, to circling to the people consuming that clean energy on big industries. So let's say we are going to produce a story around what they do, and that story will go to their possible investors and future clients. And they want to highlight they work on SDG number 1, that is no poverty, tackling inequality with farmers and providing extra income by buying their waste. So even if you use that hemp for, I don't know, sell the CBD oil for the pharmacy industry, you can still sell the waste to them. Number 7, affordable and clean energy. So providing with a fuel alternative with biomass. And number 13, climate action, creating a direct impact in reducing waste in the farming industry. So yes, after that they sent me a lot of PDFs to have a look, but I am kind of digging that information out as in a very, very brief summary on how do we start with. And the main concern that I would love to see is this is about hemp, and how does that communicate to everybody? You know, will there be people that will instantly say no just because it's hemp, or are they going to see it as a sustainable produce that actually has a lot of positive impact? So there is that kind of barrier of, you know, using a contradictive substance or plant to create a positive impact. Is that possible? And how do you tackle showing that in a video? So that's my brief. Good luck.
Does anybody have any questions for Juliana? Because she gave you a lot of insights.
Is that enough? Okay, I have thousands more of, if like a couple of more PDFs of details if you want to dig into it. But
I think for now,
We had
sorry.
We just had just one participant dropping in like 1 minute ago, so maybe we can just quickly recap what we have been up to. I think he heard most of the brief, but just not what the point of the brief was.
So who was that, Minu? Who am I talking to?
Rutger.
Oh, Rutger. Hello, Rutger. So the whole Zoom is now directed at Rutger. Okay, well, I don't know. You just heard the... okay, so there's a question from Seraphin. Who are the people we're trying to convince? Good question. That was actually my question as well. Who is the target group for this?
so big industries.
Big industries. Can you be
So what they want is to convince big industries. I don't know. Let's say McDonald's. I don't know. L'Oreal, Unilever, to buy their biomass and biogas transformed into clean energy instead of using normal sources of energy.
Okay. So that's what we're trying to convey.
Yes. So they're trying to provide with a clean energy solution, and because of the amount of energy that they can provide, they go for really big industries that use a lot of energy. So that's the target market. For the video is to try and speak to those organizations.
All right, perfect. So, okay, so directed at Rutger, our challenge. You just heard the briefing from Juliana, I think. I don't know when you dropped in. We're doing we're doing a creative exercise, creating a storyboard. So we're trying to ideate some ideas based on the briefing that Juliana just shared with us. But instead of talking about it, brainstorming about it out live, everybody has grabbed a piece of paper and a pen. And we're drawing out the process, the journey, the ideas that we have, instead of chatting about them together. So we're going to play some music now for about 5 to 6 minutes.
I'll give you just one more sentence. It's less about convincing and more about letting them know there is an alternative.
Okay.
But how to deal with that piece of information that is contradictory. That's the key factor.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions for everyone?
Yes.
How would you define hemp efficiency? Okay,
I asked that, and they say that there's a potential of 20% reduction on heating and costs, and it's clean biogas production. I don't know much. I've just spoken to them today, and I thought it could be an interesting kind of exercise for tonight. So I can respond to that after I read all of the PDFs, possibly later.
That's all right.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're going to give you 5 minutes to start drawing. Take your time, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. We'll play some music in the background, as said, and then let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
All right.
You okay like this?
Picture yourself in a living room, your pipe and slippers set out for you. I know you think that it ain't too far, but I hear a call of a lifetime ring. Felt the need to get up for it. Oh, and cut out the middleman. Get free from the middleman. You got no time for the messenger. Got no regard for the thing that you don't understand. You got no fear of the underdog. That's why you will not survive. I wanna forget how convention fits, but can I get out from under it? Can I cut it out of me? Nigga, nigga, what you looking at, nigga? I don't give a. What you looking at, nigga?
Do something a little more soothing, piano, lobby, elevator music in the background. How's everybody doing? I'll give you 2 more minutes to finish. If you need more time than 2 minutes, just let me know. Appropriate drawing when you can. Right. This feels like a beautiful end of the song to wrap this up. And to come back together. Yay! How was that, everyone? Did you enjoy that? Good. I'm very curious, and I'm assuming that Juliana is too, what everybody came up with. So is there anyone who feels comfortable sharing their ideas and their storyboard? Not all together, please.
I'm okay if you want. If you agree to heard my accent, I'm pretty okay to present.
Yep, let's see you first, and Asmara.
So I don't know if you see well everything here. So my first idea is to present what is AMP in a way that most of the people don't understand exactly what is it. I'm in Canada. We can use AMP in many ways, and say that it produces waste, and we can use it in energy. But why using it in energy? So in the first time, I want to present a circular economy about the ants, because right now it began to be more healthy, we will say. It's although really interesting in material in construction. We can use it really well in isolation. So it's really interesting to use the flour, smoke, the every other material to construct, but we still have the waste. And with the waste, what we can do, we can create energy, but we also can create vanishing waste. And this is the important part, is that we are not only using it, we are taking out some resources that are useless. So in the last panel, it will be to present the idea to say, for a pharmaceutical industry, for example, it can be really interesting because you can have a good impact for an individual person with the health benefits. We can have a good impact for the community with the energy, but we can also have a good impact for the planet with the resources who don't go in the landfill. So finally, because they love economy, you will have to show them that they will have good amount of money will come by. You will have less GS that will be produced. You will have less resources that will go in the landfill, and it will be local if you still have some hemp in your garden. So here is a quick preview.
Thank you so much, Calypso. Amazing. Juliana, do you have any questions?
No, I want to hear them all. Don't waste my time. Don't waste their time asking me questions. I want to hear.
All right. Okay. Well, let's switch to Asmara then, if you will.
Hi, everyone. So I'm clearly not the artistic type, but what I essentially thought about was it would make sense to, so they're working on 3 SDG goals, so to make parallel stories for each 3 of them, but make them all really human-centric. So the first one is like the farmer, and you see him like tilling her whatever land. And then you see like the people who are helping like process that waste into the like clean energy, and you see how it's like contributing to the poverty and the climate action. So it's just like a lot of really happy smiling people, and it's really obvious what they're all doing. And I think that if you focus more on like, these are all people who are committed to sustainability and making a livelihood sustainably, then that could be a really powerful story. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Who else would like to share?
Should I go next?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So I would do the quite opposite of that. I would start with the actual, like the hemp, and start with how it's fun to do, and how it's good to do, how you can smoke it, how get Snoop Dogg in there and have like all the things out of the way to start with, because they will come up of it eventually. And then have a message like, wait, stop. This isn't the drugs ad, and then go on. So then you have a totally new frame of it. So we all want a clean world with clean energy. We can trade waste for give extra money to it and make energy out of it with hemp. So then we come back to the hemp, and it gets explained in like the 4 sections or the benefits. I forgot about the benefits, so they aren't really there. But to start with, like the really attention message of like, you know, we know you're gonna get it anyway, so here you have it, and then go make something fun out of it.
Break the taboo.
Yes.
Thank you, Ella. Seb, would you like to share what you've drawn?
I really suck with drawings, so that's why I'm up to now.
That's exactly the point. That's kind of why we do this exercise. It's because it doesn't matter. And this
I'm
is
like
I
a
love that
3-year-old.
I love that you're actually mentioning this, because this is exactly what we get in a design sprint as well, when people are like, no, but I cannot draw anything. And it's really that hurdle that you need to get over. Even if you do a little stick figure, it's fine. It's perfectly okay. It's just to get your mind in a different sort of, to use a little bit of a different space. Oh, there you go, stick figure. Thank you, Asmara.
You've seen the stick figures in the Miro board, right? And it's a human. That's all. That's all you need to know. As long as it's communicate what you want to communicate. Actually, I did a couple years ago, I did a visual communication training. And there they told us how you can literally do everything with only circles, stripes, and dots.
Oh,
Nothing
nice.
more, nothing less. And it already makes it so much clearer what you want to communicate, because often people are not on the same page. So, I mean, a 3-year-old is fine. That works.
Just for you to feel better, I'm going to my notepad here. I can post the link to the actual video that this was what I'd kind of done. That's the work. So it doesn't have any drawings in it. It has little dots that say, you know, like it was for Reuters events, this Responsible Business Europe 2020, and so I started with the kind of, this is the logo, and then what type of movement I want for the next frame, and then what goes into each part of it, and then it goes, and that became a really cool video. So no drawing needed. I'm awful with drawing.
Process is a different thing. That's all my thing.
There you go. So you don't need drawings. You can kind of add little letters into that if it makes more sense.
Makes sense.
But drawing still is good. I'm still going to promote drawing, you know.
Yes.
Stick figures and dots and
If I
stripes.
could draw, I would have it.
Anyways, okay, Seb. Well, we won't put you on the spot. So if that's is anybody else? Because a lot of people have their cameras off. But if anybody else would like to share and turn on your camera, let me know. Alejandra.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm gonna see. So what I thought is that, okay, don't watch this one. Like a man with his family, and then he going to work to the hemp farm, and then taking some hemp and taking it to a company. And in the company, kind of like a person working, and then he with the hemp giving energy to the laptop, and then like kind of like that's his work day, because he's like giving energy with this, and then going back to his family and to see that actually is helping the community there. That's
amazing. Thank you. And I love the stick figures. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. Serafin has come on camera. Would you like to share?
Yep. So I'm not sure you can see that, but basically it starts with the movie Gladiator, when the guy is passing his hand in the hemp, like in the movie with Russell Crowe, and then from there, yes. So and then from there, we can see a car which is going out from the field, and the next one is there's a hemp station, and so people start to understand that yes, you can have a hemp station, and at least 20% clean business somewhere. That's all.
I like the film reference. We just purchased a camera that does super slow motion, and that's for that exact effect. So we keep talking about it often. Like we really want to get into video production that will use that camera. Like kids in a, you know, like just waiting for the moment.
All right. Anyone else? Last chance to share your story, your drawing. All right. All right, Juliana. Then the question for you is well, you've given it some thought already, or not yet?
Myself, well, I had between the call with them this afternoon and then getting everything ready for this for tonight. So what I will share with you, and I haven't kind of given much thought to this specific project, but what I will share with you is the process that happens after we speak with the client and they say, okay, then share with us next time, how would that video look like, or what would you do? You know, they normally don't have an idea of how it's best to communicate what they want to communicate. So we start basically at the end. So we go all the way to, who do you want to communicate this to? You know, who is this video for? And what type of language and message this organization is used to? You know, what's your normal communication in the sense of what's your visual language in your organization? And if you go into their website, they are very formal. Although they're led by young people, it's a very formal and really high-end type of organization and partners. So that kind of starts shaping the idea of what we will kind of give them as a project to work on in later stages. Then we need to think, is it best to create a longer piece of video that can tell one or multiple stories on it? Or do we want to create a series of small videos that tell the parts of it independently? So do we want to treat it as one video for biomass and one video for biogas, for example? And what to do with those things? Do we need to educate those future consumers or clients of theirs into what is biomass and biogas, or is that already something they know? So there's lots of questions that go into our mind before proposing how to do something. A video like this, the first thing that comes into my mind is that it would be really interesting to use animation or live drawings. So especially when we're concerned about our own carbon footprint, and we are carbon neutral in all of our productions, is to use the least necessary carbon into our videos. So traveling to where hemp is produced to create those videos, it's quite heavy on carbon. So can we achieve that, the success of telling those stories without having to go there? You know, we will go if it's necessary, but can we achieve the same effect if we don't? And creating characters and creating those stories and narrating that through a video that is an animation or an illustration could create the same impact and can give us a more corporate feel depending on the treatment that we put into that video. So there's loads of aspects that you go into. What features would you like to use? If you don't go with illustration and animation, so do you want to be a bit more cinematic and use, for example, as I think Seraphine mentioned, you know, a slow motion kind of going into the crop? Or do you want to go into the technical aspects and industrialized aspects of creating the biomass, you know? So what is the point that you want to show in that message? And how do you align those points with the product you are selling? You know, how do you show the positives and negatives, and what are you working on, and what is good about having this product as an alternative for your energy solutions? So there's loads of questions, but just to make like a quick answer, we go all the way to the end and then come back kind of sweeping through with their communication team and marketing team, or whoever is involved in that team. And we always ask to get as many people as involved as possible in this stage, so we can learn how that organization is and their values and what they believe, so we can kind of translate that into visual experiences. So when people understand that what you're doing is true to your values, that's when they buy into what you're doing and they listen to you. So yeah, I'll finish.
Very true. I think we can only subscribe. I'm just saying goodbye to Calypso. Thank you very much for joining us. We are almost at the top of the hour, so there's lots of things that come to mind now. There's obviously a big difference between briefing for a video or a communication tool, with all due respect, but yeah, communication.
Yeah, it is a tool.
And doing a design sprint. But actually what came to mind with me is, like you're saying, that you're trying to pull in all sorts of team members there and involving them in that process, which is exactly what we do in a design sprint, in a design thinking process. And we go through this storyboarding together, exactly because there are so many questions and so many ideas that you have to consider, so many factors that you have to take into account. Which was what we would normally do in the first 2 days of the sprint. So they kind of align in a way, that process. So before we forget and before everybody has to jump off, we would like to do a picture with everybody's drawing. So if you are comfortable with sharing that and popping on your camera, then do that now. And then Minu, whenever you're ready, take the picture. Or if you have any special things you want to add.
Pretend mine.
Put on your mask, any other props you want people to, I don't know. Your mic is off, Minu, so you're in charge here.
I'm so sorry. I'll just, yes. Once everyone has his image in the screen, I will take the screenshot. Oh, I was too early. And now I have to wait until the screenshot leaves my screen. Yeah, are we ready?
Yeah.
Yay.
Sure.
Perfect.
All right. Perfect. So for those of you who have to drop off right now, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you again next month, just for our special Christmas edition. We are thinking of doing a circular economy Christmas special.
Very nice.
So that would be a lot of fun. It's now scheduled for the 22nd of December, so that's well in time before Christmas. So it's so please feel welcome to join us then. Sebastian, you still had a question on the board for Juliana. So if Juliana is okay with that, and whoever wants to stay a little bit longer, then we can answer that question. And if you have any other questions you would like to ask or just stay a bit longer, then we can do that.
Just jump in for 2 seconds. I shared the bureau link again in the chat. In case you have any tips or like recommendations or anything that you would like more of, less of, that you like, that you disliked, or any unanswered questions, please feel free to like just take a post it and drop in the wrap-up board. So we will take this on to the next session and make sure that we are constantly improving our sessions and really creating the best possible for you. And
Perfect.
Back to Pam.
Well, not necessarily back to me. I was thinking of going back to Sebastian's question. Give everybody some space to be able to drop off if they have to. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Hope to see you next month. And Seb, feel free to come off mic and pop in your question for Juliana.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask Juliana, how do you, what is the process that you take to make sure that you partner up and work with the brands that, align with your mission, sustainable projects that align with your mission?
That's a tough one. I'll go rabbinical on this. How would you go about working with an organization that is not sustainable at all? Would you work with them and then maybe get an entry and the opportunity to share how they could be more sustainable and to help inspire and ignite sustainability in there? Or would you just kind of close the doors to it? So this is a complex question that I fortunately have not had to deal with yet. so far, all of the partners that have come across, all of the videos that we have produced, they, most of them very much align with all of our sustainability kind of pledge and all of our values. But it is something we question ourselves. And so far we've decided we would not say no without listening first, because it might be they're open, and if they have come to us, it means something, because I suppose an organization that doesn't care about sustainability would not come to us that have a very clear statement on the front page, about our values, unless they're a bit sadistic or a bit kind of, I don't know, it would be really weird. I hope I convey our message on our website about our values and what we do and how we do it and why we do it well enough to avoid that conflict. But if that conflict comes, I will be very happy to listen. I have my friend, dear Freud, and he stays here with me on my laptop, and he listens to everything together with me. And we would try to understand why would they try to inflict such pain into their own kind of agenda by bringing somebody like me to question their sustainability journey. So I would be happy to listen, but I don't know if I would be doing the job or if they would hire me. I don't think they would like to hire me.
Yeah. Thanks, Juliana.
No problem.
Good answer. A very, very good answer. Are there any other questions for Juliana? Or for Minu and myself? That's all.
I'm just wondering, with your current assignment that you want to get, it seems a lot about what the product is, whereas do you also think about how to lower the barrier for a company to accept something like new like that in your stories? Because I'm thinking more from a business perspective.
Yeah.
My first question when you introduced the concept was, what will it cost a company to switch over?
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough supply to sustain my big industry? Can you grow more quick enough to power my industry?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is that also in your storylines, or is your area more just about educating people about new products and things like that?
Not necessarily. That was just an example from a client, a possible client that we would work with, that came across today on a really nice, lively conversation, and he had a few chats with media companies, and he's deciding who is going to kind of create video work for them. And now we do have a very commercial kind of take in one of the sessions that we have with the client that kind of bring about all of those questions. The video has to serve the client's purpose, their strategy. Some videos will be for investors, some videos will be for new clients, some videos will be to nurture current clients. So there is always a different kind of way of conveying the story that they want to talk about. In this case, they would like to be known as a possible source. And then for that matters, it includes education. And also it should include the potential commercial benefits of it. But the focus, that the narrative that they want to create, focus on enlightening and creating a new way of seeing the produce, meaning hemp, which can come with a lot of contradictory ideas, into a possible clean energy solution. So yes, there's a lot of questionings, and hopefully they will be, they'll be fine to answer all of that if we get to the point of creating a video for them.
Okay, thanks.
All right. If there are no more questions, then I could definitely use a bathroom break. In this small committee, I feel very free to express my needs. So unless there are any other questions, yeah, we're going to close the Zoom. And thank you very much again. Thank you, Juliana, for the great information and the great talk. And of course, we hope to see everybody next month. Minu, am I missing something?
No. I think that's thanks, Juliana.
You're not even going to mention that I swapped from a blanket to a proper scarf.
We should have.
Should have.
I've been having some prep calls with the ladies, and they mentioned, why are you always wrapped up in a blanket? But we're doing a 1 degree challenge here every kind of couple of days. We go 1 degree lower on our heating until we don't really need much of a heating through winter. So we're always really wrapped up inside, and that's one good challenge. I'll challenge you, Sebastian, for that one.
Sebastian is also wearing a jacket, right?
Yeah, so there you go.
Way to go.
It was fun sustainability challenge. Got to walk the talk.
Yeah. We actually did this in our high school. Every year, once it was called Warm Sweater Day, and they just completely turned off the heating for a day. Yeah.
It's one of the best things to keep kids quiet, going back to that job that one should not mention in this Zoom call. When the kids were really excited inside the room, we would just kind of switch the air conditioner, because this was Rio and it's like 40 degrees outside, so you do need air conditioner inside the classrooms. And if you make it really cold, then the teenagers kind of calm down.
That's interesting.
That's a tip.
Wrong with that one.
Right, so with that, we'll go.
On that note, turn off your heater, and then we'll see you next time.
Yes.
See you next time. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.